that local experience you were looking for could become too authentic, end up making you talk to the police. Why is this such a big deal? Opening up a business in Vietnam is definitely not a walk in the park. No exceptions, no gray areas. In Vietnam, a husband cannot divorce a spouse. Your social media posts can land you in a lot more trouble than you'd expect. Can lead up to 20 years of prison time. It's a strict, zero tolerance policy that leaves no room for misunderstandings. Getting a tight grip on something that the government cannot fully control. Did you know that booking an Airbnb can get you in trouble faster than saying Dong Ho? Or naming your business after a historical figure can get you a day in court. So today we're going to talk about some of the wild laws in Vietnam that may not apply in the United States. Before we start, let's get one thing clear. We're not going to talk about freedom of speech, right to protest, or criticizing the government. Why? Because those topics have already been discussed many times before. We don't want to rehash it, and you can see this on YouTube. Second, some of these topics are way too sensitive to talk about without breaking the local laws. And as a law firm operating in Vietnam, we definitely don't want to break the laws, but we definitely have very strong opinions. So today we'll talk about the 10 things that are illegal in Vietnam, but legal in the United States. So let's get started. So just in case some of you do not know me, my name is Ken Duong, international business immigration attorney with 30 years living in the United States and over 10 years living here in Vietnam, specializing in foreign direct investments, living, retiring, and everything that has to do with Vietnam. And as a U.S. attorney, today we're going to compare between the U.S. and Vietnam, things that you should and should not do. So let's start with something that everybody can relate to, booking a place to stay. So you would think, what could go wrong with booking an Airbnb? So let me tell you. You land in Vietnam, go through customs, and ready to get to your chic Airbnb space with the amazing skyline. You arrive, unpack, and ready to post that envy-inducing Instagram post. Spoiler alert, you hear a knock at the door and it's not a welcoming party. It's actually the authorities, and suddenly you're in a scene of locked up abroad. Why is this such a big deal? The Vietnamese government is very strict with short-term rentals. They want to protect licensed hotels against unregistered properties, and also they want to know where the foreigners are staying. So under Decree number 96, 2016 NDCP, if the host does not register the property and follow the safety and tax regulations, they could be fined up to $400 to $600 and the properties could be seized. So that local experience you were looking for could become too authentic. Now that you pass that hurdle and you have a legitimate place to stay, now it's time to book a Uber or a Lyft that's very easy in the United States. But in Vietnam, not so much. So you think just getting around and just booking a Grab would be very easy. But what if I told you that your short Grab trip could end up making you talk to the police? Here's the thing. In Vietnam, ride-hailing services are required to register as commercial vehicles with special licenses and a mountain of paperwork. Based on the Decree 10/2020 NDCP, they are required to register their vehicles similar to traditional taxis. A violation of this decree could lead to a penalty of $800. So if you book a Grab and the car doesn't have the special yellow license plate, then you might be caught by the police and they'll be asking you, why is your personal driver not so personal? So now that you booked your ride-hailing app and you're cruising through the city, then you are inspired to open up a business and you think about all these names. But hold on, because naming your business in Vietnam is not as easy as in the United States. Thinking about naming your Vietnamese business Communist Coffee Corner? Think again, because the Vietnamese government takes names very seriously. According to Law and Enterprises of 2020 and the Decree number 122/2021 NDCP, naming of businesses cannot include references to the government, historical figures, or anything that is offensive. This is in order to maintain respect and also to prevent confusion between private and public entities. Any of these violations can lead to $400 to $600 in penalties, changing of the name, and possibly closing or revoking the business license. So in the United States, you may see Drunken Monkey or Hooters, but definitely in Vietnam, you will not see these business names. So let's face it, opening up a business in Vietnam is definitely not a walk in the park. You have a ton of regulations, paperwork, and enough red tape to gift wrap a skyscraper. But hey, it's always a good idea to have a strong legal team to help you through a smooth and drama-free registration of your business. Now that you have a nice, safe name for your business, and now you're gonna try your luck in other ways, such as gambling. In Vietnam, the house always wins, especially if that house is the government. Love a good game of poker or betting on your favorite sports team? You better think twice. In fact, you better not think about it at all in Vietnam. Gambling is mostly illegal in Vietnam. There are a few licensed casinos that are regulated and only allowed for foreigners. This is because the government believes that casinos would lead to social instability and crime. Under Article 321 of the Criminal Code, even minor gambling activities can lead to major fines and also up to 7 years of prison time. The main purpose is to keep social order, but really, it's also getting a tight grip on something that the government cannot fully control. So let's say you stay clear of the risky business, no gambling, no problem, right? You decide to do nightlife or relaxing businesses in the recreational fun. Remember that time that you ate the marijuana gummy or smoked that joint in California or went to a party and saw a laughing gas balloon? Don't even think about it in Vietnam. Just thinking about it may get you in trouble. Vietnam has some of the strictest drug laws in the world. Even having a small amount of marijuana can lead up to jail time of 5 years under Criminal Code 249. And also for nitrous oxide or what's called laughing gas balloons, it's illegal to sell or distribute such product and could lead up to fines of up to 20,000 US dollars. These laws were put into place to prevent the drug-related issues seen in neighboring countries. So if you want to get your high in Vietnam, then just drink the coffee because they will keep you buzzing for hours. So now that you decided no drugs, no problem. But what if you wanted just to hit up a strip club or a nude dancing facility? You wouldn't bat an eye in the United States, especially in Las Vegas. But in Vietnam, these establishments are illegal. In Vietnam, you better think twice about following that neon sign because it's not just drugs that can get you in trouble. Thinking about visiting a strip club in Vietnam, these places don't really exist. But if you're looking to visit a massage parlor or a coffee shop, those places are quite abundant and everybody knows that they exist, but they're just cleverly disguised so that you don't know. Under Article 327 of the Criminal Code, operating or attending one of these places can lead up to 20 years of prison time. So next time you see a coffee shop with no customers, you better think twice before going in. Before I get into the top 4 illegal things in Vietnam that are not illegal in the United States, I want to mention that 80% of you are not subscribed to our YouTube channel. And that's a big deal. Why? Because without subscribing, you're not staying up to date with the best information about opening up businesses, investing, or doing business in Vietnam. And one piece of information can be critical to failure or success. So definitely hit that subscribe button. It only takes 1 second and it's free. But it'll definitely help us out a lot to provide you with the best, most up-to-date, practical, and impartial information that we can. So let's get back to that video. So you stay clear of all those main places, but what about relationships? Those issues are very complicated in Vietnam as well. So the legal age of consent in Vietnam is 16. No exceptions, no gray areas. If you are caught crossing that line, you can be imprisoned up to 10 years under Article 142 of the Criminal Code with a fine of $1,200 under Article 58 of Decree 82-2020 NDCP. The law is meant to protect young people from exploitation, but it also means that if a 16-year-old is dating a 15-year-old, they both can get into serious legal trouble. It's a strict, zero-tolerance policy that leaves no room for misunderstandings. Sometimes the law has good intentions, but the execution is harsh. And that is true for relationships. Speaking of which, let's talk about what happens when a marriage goes south. Imagine being in Vietnam and somehow falling in love with your girlfriend and then wanting to marry her. Everything is going smoothly, but then things start to turn sour, but you can't leave your partner because she's pregnant. In Vietnam, a husband cannot divorce a spouse during her pregnancy and within 12 months of nursing. Under Article 51 of the Marriage and Family Law of 2014, it is meant to protect the mother and the child, but it can also force families to stay together when they do not want to, creating a toxic environment for everyone involved. Although the law is to support mothers, but it can make families get stuck together. Marriage is great when it works, but if things go south, especially with a Vietnamese spouse, things can get complicated. Especially dealing with all the paperwork, asset division, child custody, and who gets what is definitely not something you want to tackle alone. Knowing where to turn to and going to the right place will help in a smooth transition in this divorce proceedings. Just a thought, if you're looking to get married or divorce, contact us and we'll be happy to guide you through the process. So you're stuck in a marriage as rocky as Ha Long Bay with no way out. Now imagine if you're stuck in the workplace and someone crosses the line, but reporting it is extremely difficult. Let's address some of the sexual harassment issues in Vietnam. Sexual harassment is a big issue all over the world, and it's no different here in Vietnam, but reporting it can be a really tough uphill battle. Victims often choose to remain silent due to the social stigma and also the tough legal procedures involved in reporting. Under the Labor Code, sexual harassment is defined, but the penalties are quite limited to only warnings or fines up to $1,290. Due to the weakness of the penalties, many of these crimes go unpunished and the victims are without justice. This is a true reality that many face here in Vietnam, which shows that the government needs to do more to protect employees in the workplace. Imagine feeling powerless to speak up, especially when you know you're right. This is a feeling that no one should experience. But speaking of speaking up, your social media posts can land you in a lot more trouble than you'd expect. Thinking that you can post whatever you want on social media, think again. In Vietnam, one post can mean more than just a like or a dislike. Under the cybersecurity law, defamation on social media is a criminal offense. The law states that if someone posts on social media a defamatory or offensive comment, then that can lead to fines or prison time as well. Unlike in the United States, these defamatory statements are not protected by freedom of speech. Thus, the laws in Vietnam are much stricter. Fines can include and go all the way up to $1,200 per penalty and possibly prison time as well. So before you click on that post button, think twice because your next viral comment can go way too far. Want to know more about social media law and how it works? We made a video to break down those rules and you can click on the right-hand corner to watch that, and I guarantee you it'll be worth a few of your minutes. So there you have it, 10 things that are straight okay in the United States but can get you into serious trouble in Vietnam. Got any other bizarre legal stories? Put in the comments below. But as always, thank you for watching this video, but make sure that you like our Facebook page and all our social media, subscribe to our YouTube channel, comment below, and click on the bell for notifications. So thank you very much for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one.